it was, like I said, it was a family pastime, hand balancing in the backyard, and it was just the thing we did. It was like baseball. You go back in the backyard to play catch, we go in the backyard and do some gymnastic stuff, and we go to work with Dad, and that's gymnastics gym. And it was natural for us to do it. My dad, my uncle were both in gymnastics. My dad in particular stuck with it, an Olympian and member of the 1968 Olympic team. Oh. And my sister got into gymnastics. She's 4 years older than me. And, she was very serious from a very young age and was on a world championship team and was a member of the 84 Olympic team. My dad was my coach for a good part of my career, really starting in high school. That was kind of how I grew up, and then just kind of went to work with my dad, and that was the gymnastics gym at the University of Minnesota. And so it was kind of it was always something we kind of always did and played, and I got more serious as I got older. And then my dad, really from 14 until I retired at 30, my dad was my main coach. Gosh, growing up, even though I did terrible at that first JO Nationals, that was an amazing experience for me. Mm-hmm. Just, I was around these amazing juniors that, like Cheney Humphrey and Chris Waller, guys that I ended up being teammates with further on, but they were so far ahead of me, and just being there and getting a taste of the best in junior gymnastics really was inspiring. I got to hang out with them a little bit. And so that was really, as far as one of the younger experiences. And even as a club kid, going on that first airplane trip to a meet was pretty awesome. I remember going to the Farmers Branch Invitational. It was in Texas, and it was such a big deal. And Lance Ringnauld was there, Lance. Yep. And I remember being just like, wow, there's Lance Ringnauld. And then as I got older, being a college gymnast was probably the most important thing to me as I look back in my career, even more so in a lot of ways than the Olympics. It just being at the University of Minnesota and being part of that, something bigger than me, not that the Olympics aren't bigger than you, but being part of that and being part of it for years. And even after I graduated or used up my eligibility, I still trained there, and it just became an extension of me. It was an extended family, and my teammates were important to me. And those experiences we had as a college team, traveling around and competing and winning a few Big Ten championships and getting really close to the NCAA championships, that collective 4 years of my life was really, really special to me. Something I hope my kids can do, whether it's in gymnastics or baseball or soccer or something else. I hope they get the chance to be on a college team. The Olympics obviously are pretty special too. I think in particular, I look at Barcelona and just that feeling of walking out on the Olympic floor and just kind of soaking it in. I kind of just breathed it all in, and that was a special moment for me. And then Atlanta, we were contenders, even more so. And it was cool to be close to winning the medal and compete in front of the home crowd was pretty amazing feeling as well. I mean, I think obviously the 3 Olympic teams were a big deal to me. Making the third one was probably the hardest thing that I did, just because I was getting older. I was 30 years old. Still doing all around, and there's some young guys that were really talented, and I really felt like I kind of pushed my upper limits of my ability, and I wasn't this type of gymnast that was willing to just throw. I wasn't a circus performer, and gymnastics was starting to become a circus near the end of my career, and not nearly what it is now, but it already was. I was straining to find stuff that I could do that I felt comfortable doing. And I had torn my ACL 2 years before that. And so just everything kind of coming together, and just the challenge of trying to make that last team was a huge accomplishment for me. College athletics is a completely broken model as we know it. And it's really unfortunate because it's all about a handful. It's all about really 2 men's sports being successful, and it's about that first, and then it's about complying with Title IX second. Well, those are kind of go hand in hand because you can't do one without the other, but it's as long as athletic directors have an unwritten, or maybe it's even written, agenda of, hey, win in football, win in basketball on the men's side, and then comply with Title IX, which means that you're going to spend as much on the women's sports as you do on the men's sports, which means with football, you're going to build a $10 million training gym for a women's gymnastics team, while the men's team is in a 4,000 square foot dusty corner of, a building somewhere, which again, you just heard me. I'm not complaining about my gym. I loved it.
Yeah.
But that's the economics of college sports, and it's only going to get worse. And non-revenue men's sports are going to be the brunt of the victims. But the thing people don't realize is non-revenue women's sports are going to start to take a hit too. People ask me, do you miss it? And when I think about missing it, I don't think about going to the Olympics and competing. I'm like, oh, I wish I could compete again. Or I don't think about, those moments people normally would think about, being on the big stage or winning something. To me, what I miss is going to the gym with my teammates. I would love to just go back and be in my prime and walk up the steps to that gym and walk in there and smell it and hear the guys and the coaches and just grind it out for a day.
Yeah.
Do a 2-day again and just, feel the chalk and the thrill of trying to be great at something.